Hey gang, how's it going? We're going to do some paint correction again today. We're going to kind of step it up a little bit from some of the damage we've taken care of before. It's a little bit more leaning more towards some major damage. So I'll guide you through step by step. We'll do it a little bit differently this time. I'm going to bring out the what I nickname the sniper. It's a tool that sort of just goes after particular areas, particular scratches or defects or blemishes. So let's get this done. Okay, guys, so there's a bunch of things going on here. There's probably 3 or 4 different things going on. We have this lighter scratch up here, more of a surface scratch, and then we have real deep ones coming all the way back through the whole length of the door here. And then as we get back further, another problem where it got up against, who knows, a pole or something. So, like I said, we have 3, 4 different things to correct here. And what I'm going to do is bring in what I nicknamed the sniper, because it only goes after certain things. It kind of snipes an area. It goes after one scratch at a time, a small area, where I don't want to take the clear coat down any further than I have to, just to correct the scratch or the blemish or the defect that I'm after. So this is a pneumatic polisher slash sander. You need access to forced air to run the tool. It is extremely powerful for how small it is. Another reason I nicknamed it the sniper, it has forced rotation, as well as being able to oscillate, as well as having 4,500 RPM. I mean, if you had this thing all out, it would just be dangerous. So the tool should obviously be in the right hands. You have to get used to it. I barely move the trigger more than 1/16 of an inch to get, I'd say, 8 to 1200 RPMs out of it, and it cuts quick. Right now, I have the soft foam backing plate, 2 inches. I have sanding discs, and I also have polishing pads for it. Right now I have the 1000 grit 3M disc. It cuts quick, so your arm movements, you got to keep moving. You got to keep moving. You got to keep moving, and you have to keep your eye on where you've been and where you're going. And it doesn't take long to correct the area you're after with this. And we're good to go. Believe it or not, the blemishes are corrected. We are now blending in. We're bringing out the Griot's Garage as usual with the 3-inch 3000 grit. This is to blend in and remove the sanding marks from the 1000 grit discs. The scratches are gone. All the blemishes are gone except for that one up on the top right corner. We saved that one. We're going to nip that with the 3000 grit. So what we're going to do is make the area a little bit larger than what we have with the sniper with the 1000 grit. We're going to go over the whole area. We're going to repeat the whole process of going over that area where we have with the air tool, but we're going to make it 2 inches wider on each side, and then we're going to go up in the top corner and grab that little scratch, that little surface scratch that's up towards the window. When it comes to pressure, with both the 3000 and the 5000 grit disc, I mean, you could be firm with it if you want. There's no reason to at all. I don't put a lot of pressure on actually any tool, either an electric sander, a DA, a rotary, or any kind of sanding machine whatsoever. I always let the tool do the work. I just I don't get why anybody would put tons of pressure on these machines when they're made to do the work for you. So it's just light pressure. I use my hands, rest them on the machine, and guide it. I mean, in retrospect, it's probably because I don't spend a lot of time on one machine. I use wet sanding to do a lot of my correcting, so I'm hardly ever on a polisher for any long period of time at all. Even when I have swirl marks to remove, yeah, I'll hit it with the 6,000 or the 10,000 and jump on a polisher for just minutes, if that, a minute or two. It doesn't take more than a pass to finish up what I started with when I get to the polishing stage. So here we are with the 5,000. A lot of people would jump to a polisher at this point right here, and you can. You're going to be on the polisher for a little bit longer. It's going to take a little bit longer to remove the sanding marks from the 3,000. But what I like to do is I like to continue on with the blending process, which means once I have that 5,000 grit disc, I'm going to make the area even larger, an inch or two larger than I made the area with the 3,000 grit. Part of the blending in process, and it also gives me a perfect refined surface after the polish is done. It looks like a mirror. A question I do get a lot from beginners or some that just don't spend time wet sanding is why we're removing so much clear. The answer is we're not removing any more clear than we would in any other process to correct the problem. I'm going to bring you in actually after I'm done with the 5,000. So if you think back to everything we've used so far, a lot of people would think there'd be no orange peel. We'd be down to 1/4 of a mil of clear coat. It's quite the opposite. I'm going to bring you in. And show you right here. If you pay attention to the light, how it's reflecting, there's still plenty of orange peel texture to the surface. There's still 1.25 mil clear coat. That's actually very good after a correction of this type right here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab the long throw because we have a nice large flat area. I'm going to use Cupion 6.2. It's a medium cut. Actually, I have to correct myself. It's Cupion 6.1. It is a medium cut correcting cream. It takes care of everything in one shot. I'm just going to make one pass over the entire area. Nice and slow, no pressure. This long throw does great work. I don't want to put any pressure on this and raise the temperature. Temperature fluctuation puts that clear coat through more stress than any other correction source of correction you're going to give it. So obviously what we're doing here is removing the sanding marks from the 5,000 grit. We're also taking care of any other blemishes that are outside the correction area. So this gives it a perfect blending in. So when we wipe off this spent residue, it's going to be a perfectly corrected surface, and it's actually going to look like new. By the way, I have to add, this 22D, the way it gets passed around and shared here, it gets used hard, gets used, abused, kicked around, dropped, driven over. This thing is very durable. I highly recommend it. I don't give a crap what anybody says on the forums. It's a good machine. That's it. That's all it's going to take. That's as long as I'm going to be on the polisher. We're done. We can remove the residue. And I can bring you guys in for a close look and show you it's 100% corrected and looks great. And while I'm at it, I'm going to hit you with a quick before and after. Alright gang, so to conclude the video, when I walk up to Damage to take a look at it for the first time, within the first 5 or 10 seconds, I already know what steps I am going to have to take, what tools I'm going to have to get out, how much of the damage or blemish I'm going to be able to remove. I already know if it's something that is not through the clear coat, I will be able to take care of it 100% every time. If it's through the clear coat, I can usually get it where you have to have your nose up against it, or you have to be looking at it at a certain angle to catch a glimpse at it. So that's how I go about it. If you have any questions on the process whatsoever, don't hesitate to ask. This is Brian from Apex Detail. Catch you in the next video.